Somewhere around 30,000 years ago, a human being picked up a sharp piece of flint and deliberately scraped hair off their own face. No mirror, no foam, no instruction manual, just a rock and a decision. And the strangest part isn't that they did it. The strangest part is what happened next. The person next to them did it, and the person after that, and then the group over the hill, and then a civilization 3,000 miles away that had never met them, and then another, and another. Until eventually, every major civilization on Earth was doing some version of the same thing. The question nobody asked is why. The real reason is older, stranger, and more telling about human nature than anything you'd expect. And once you understand it, you'll never look at a razor the same way. The earliest hard archaeological evidence of intentional hair removal dates to around 30,000 BCE, when prehistoric people used paired clamshells as crude tweezers and sharpened flint blades as the world's first razors. Think about what that means. 30,000 years ago. Before agriculture, before writing, before the wheel, before any of the things we associate with civilization. And someone was already removing hair from their body. Cave paintings from this era depict human figures without beards, which many researchers interpret as evidence of shaving or other forms of hair removal. And what they found points toward a reason that makes complete, uncomfortable biological sense. Parasites. A furry coat provides an attractive and safe haven for insects such as ticks, lice, biting flies, and other ectoparasites. These creatures don't just cause irritation, they carry viral, bacterial, and protozoan-based diseases. Malaria, sleeping sickness, Lyme disease, all of which can cause chronic illness, and in some cases death. Here's something most people don't know. Humans are, by primate standards, almost naked. We lost most of our body hair hundreds of thousands of years ago, and scientists spent decades arguing about why. In 2003, evolutionary biologist Mark Pagel and geneticist Walter Bodmer published a paper in the Proceedings of the Royal Society B titled simply, "A Naked Ape Would Have Fewer Parasites." Their argument was direct. Ancestors to modern humans became progressively less hairy as a means to reduce the prevalence of external parasites that routinely infest fur. And crucially, unlike every other primate, humans had something that made losing their fur survivable. Fire, shelter, clothing. So we became less hairy as a species because hair was quite literally helping things that wanted to kill us. And once you understand that, the behavior that starts appearing 30,000 years ago makes complete sense. If evolution was already rewarding humans for having less hair, then deliberately removing the hair they still had wasn't vanity. It was an extension of the same logic. Less hair, fewer parasites, better chance of surviving. More children. The behavior spreads. Pagel and Bodmer also noted that smooth, clear skin became a signal of health, evidence that you were parasite-free, which over time made it attractive, which made it spread even faster. A clean face wasn't just a preference. It was a health advertisement. But this is where the story gets more interesting. Because around 3000 BCE, something changes. Humans figure out copper. Systematic, daily shaving driven by ideas of cleanliness and class emerged in ancient Egypt. And the Egyptians didn't just shave occasionally, they became obsessed. Archaeologists have discovered solid copper and even gold razors buried in Egyptian tombs from the early dynastic and Old Kingdom periods, roughly 3000 to 2500 BCE. Their presence in elite burials, including the tombs of pharaohs, tells us everything about how seriously Egyptians took this. Bodily hair was viewed as unclean, uncivilized. Both men and women of the upper classes removed it entirely. Noble women often kept their heads completely shaved, wearing wigs in public. Gold razors. In the tomb, for the afterlife. And it wasn't just about looking good. The Greek historian Herodotus, who traveled through Egypt and recorded what he observed firsthand, noted that Egyptian priests shaved their entire bodies every few days specifically to prevent lice and what he called other impurities. Even the Old Testament reflects this. In Genesis 41:14, when Joseph is brought before Pharaoh, the text specifically notes that he shaved first. In ancient Egypt, appearing before power, unshaved was simply not done. But here's the twist that nobody talks about. Egyptian leaders, both men and women, associated power and divine authority with facial hair. So after shaving off their real beards, pharaohs would attach artificial golden ones for official ceremonies and statues. Because being clean-shaven was the standard of civilization, but a beard still symbolized divine power. So they did both. The Egyptians had essentially turned hair into a language, a social code. And once that happens, shaving is no longer about parasites at all. It's about who you are. Now here's where the story takes a sharp turn. The year is 331 BCE. Alexander the Great is about to face one of the toughest and most decisive battles of his life, the Persian forces of King Darius III, an army that significantly outnumbers his Macedonians. He has already made his sacrifices. He has already rallied his commanders. And then one of his officers asks if there's anything else that needs to be done. Alexander's answer, according to Plutarch, writing centuries after the fact, and one historians have debated ever since, is one of the most unexpected orders in military history. Nothing except to shave the Macedonians' beards. Whether it happened exactly this way or not, the reasoning behind it was real and practical. In hand-to-hand combat at close range, the desperate chest-to-chest scramble of ancient warfare, a beard wasn't a symbol. It was a handle. An enemy could grab it, yank your head down, and end you in a second. So he ordered it gone. And he went clean-shaven himself. Not just as a tactical decision, as a statement. Before Alexander, clean-shaven faces were unusual for Greek rulers. After Alexander, they became the standard. He was consciously breaking with the older generation, projecting youth, dynamism, a new kind of power that didn't need the visual weight of tradition. Greeks took to shaving at around this time. Barbershops became common in Greek cities. Daily shaves and haircuts became a social ritual for gentlemen, and then Rome absorbed Greek culture, and Rome spread across the known world. And suddenly, the clean-shaven face wasn't just Egyptian or Greek, it was civilization. But this is the part history books skim over. Because what happens next reveals something genuinely uncomfortable about what shaving actually is. It's not about hair. It was never really about hair. In 1698, Tsar Peter the Great returned from nearly 2 years traveling across Western Europe, working in Dutch shipyards, studying English naval techniques, watching how modern states functioned. He came home convinced Russia was falling behind, old, backward, medieval. So he did something that shocked everyone. At a formal reception for his noble court, Peter pulled out a razor and personally began shaving their beards, right there, in the room. Then he made it law. Noblemen who kept their facial hair paid 100 rubles a year. Those who paid received a copper token as proof, to be carried at all times. Tax collectors were empowered to shave non-compliant men in the streets. The Russian Orthodox Church was furious. Patriarch Joachim condemned those who had begun to destroy the image that God has given man. A beard had become so loaded with meaning that shaving it off was an act against God. Think about the distance we've traveled. We started with a prehistoric human scraping flint across their face to get rid of parasites. We ended up with a tsar forcibly shaving his nobles in a palace banquet hall as a political manifesto. Same behavior, completely different meaning, and that's the real answer. The reason ancient humans started shaving wasn't one thing, it was never one thing. It shifted, layered, and accumulated meaning across thousands of years of human history. It started as survival. The ectoparasite hypothesis, backed by peer-reviewed science, suggests that losing body hair and eventually removing what remained was the same evolutionary logic applied at different timescales. Less hair meant fewer places for disease-carrying parasites to hide. Then it became status. In Egypt, a shaved head meant you were wealthy enough to afford a razor and a barber. It meant you were clean. It meant you had time to care. Hair became the marker of poverty. Smoothness became the signal of power. Then it became military. A tactical decision, real or legendary, turned into a continental aesthetic. Then it became culture. The Greeks, the Romans. The spread of the clean-shaven face across two continents, not because anyone chose it consciously, but because empire carries its aesthetics everywhere it goes. Then it became ideology. Peter the Great wielding a razor like a political manifesto, a beard as a statement of resistance, a shave as proof of modernity. And now you do it because everyone does it, because it's normal, because the alternative feels like a statement. But every single morning when you pick up a razor, you are participating in a ritual that stretches back 30,000 years. A ritual that started because your ancestors were terrified of invisible things living in their hair. A ritual that got picked up by pharaohs and soldiers and emperors and czars and passed down through every generation until it landed, completely unremarkable, in your bathroom. You didn't choose it. You inherited it. And so did everyone before you. The only difference is they knew why they were doing it.